What is good, everyone? Today I want to make a video on how to overcome social anxiety. So this is something I really struggled with when I was younger. So I really wasn't the most social person in high school. I was extremely introverted, and this carried over a little bit into my adult life when I first started trying to get social. I actually was really intimidated by going out and talking to people. To tell you a funny story, so when I first had to do like my first solo interaction socially, I'd moved down to Florida. I had friends in New York who I hung out with, and we had a good time. I had my boys. We would pretty much just smoke, and that's all we did. We didn't go out, we didn't drink, we didn't socialize and try and meet girls and things like that. So when I moved down to Florida, I had no friends. I didn't have anyone to do these things with that I used to do, and I wanted to meet people. So I was so scared though. I was honestly so scared. After some time though, I forced myself to go to this 18 plus club, and I decided the day before. It was a Thursday night that they had it. It's 18 plus, and I decided on Wednesday that I was going to go there. So the whole Thursday, that next day, I had the worst anxiety ever. I mean, I'm not even joking. It was so bad. This is something it's like kind of embarrassing for me to say. I honestly threw up. I was so scared to go out to the club by myself. I mean, I talk to people now who are like, you go out by yourself. But now for me, it's not a big deal. But back then, to go out by myself when it was the first time I'd ever gone to a bar, a club, anything like that, it was terrifying for me, being someone who wasn't even social as it is. So, fast forward a couple years later, I go out by myself all the time, and it's actually one of the things I enjoy most. To tell you the truth, I drink less when I go out alone because I'm actually spending more time interacting with people instead of just getting drinks with my boys or my friends, things like that. So you force yourself to actually get more social. You'll meet at least 10 times more people when you go out alone. And I think it's a necessary thing for everyone to try at least a couple times just to test yourself, just to prove to yourself that you can do this. And then it's also just a great time when you know that you're self-reliant. You don't need anybody to go to the club. For example, I'm out here in Sweden. My mom is Swedish, so I come here in the summers, and I actually had to do the same thing here, but now it wasn't a big deal for me. So when it was the first time for me to go out to the club by myself here, I was a completely different person. I was confident, and right off the bat just started making friends. Didn't have to deal with any of that anxiety. Don't get me wrong, the first time I was a little bit nervous, as with anything you haven't done it for a while, even sales. When I started, when I start new sales jobs, I'm a little bit nervous for that first sales call, but that's natural. That's for everyone. But the moral of the story and the lesson I'm trying to portray here with overcoming social anxiety is you just have to do the thing that you fear the most. That's the only way to get over it. If you avoid and hide from it, it's only going to fester up and build until it's this huge overcome that you have to deal with at a later point. For you just to go out there and, even if you have the tiniest tinge of anxiety, this is how I operate. Even if I have the tiniest tinge of anxiety, say my friend cancels on me and we were supposed to go out and I feel a little nervous, like, I had to go out by myself. I force myself to do that thing because I know it will build if I don't just go ahead and do it and prove to myself that nothing bad's going to happen. After you start doing these things and you realize even if it didn't go great, like for example, we're using this going out by yourself is the moral of the story and the lesson I'm trying to use here. Even if you don't do anything crazy and don't party. Like there was a time when I was in Florida, I went to Tampa. I was already used to going out by myself. I tried this new club. It's like an hour away, and it really wasn't my scene. It was just a very different cultural scene from what I'm used to. So I really didn't fit in there. I talked to a couple people. A girl ended up kissing me at random. It wasn't a bad night, but it wasn't like my normal night where I'm social and drinking and talking to people. I was kind of just standing there. But those nights also prove to you that even if nothing really good happens, you can still go out and nothing bad happens. No one's going to remember. Everyone's so focused on themselves. Everyone's drinking. No one cares that you're there unless you interact with them and you have some sort of positive interaction. Then they'll remember you, hopefully in a good way. But nothing bad's going to happen by doing these things. So you just got to remember that in the end of the day, everyone's going to die. Not using this as a negative thing, but as a positive, that nothing you do is really going to be remembered. Even the most famous people in history, they're eventually forgotten about. So you going out by yourself, it's really not a big deal. Even if things don't go your way, it's not the end of the world. You got to just go out there, be as social as possible, and you're going to grow and build into this person over time. So if you're someone who has social anxiety like me, my advice and moral of the story is just get out there, do the things that you fear the most. This applies to any fear in general. It doesn't just have to be social anxiety. It's just dive in and do that thing that you're scared of to do the most. And you'll quickly learn that most of your fears are just imaginary and they're really not that big of a deal. So that is all for today. I hope this helps you. I'll see you in the next one.